No one can become anything that is not in his or her consciousness. That is a law. Whatever thing that is not in your consciousness does not exist for you or to you. And therefore you cannot become that. And this is on the principle that, on the law that nothing is at a standstill. Everything is changing. Everything is changing, even your life. You are recreating your life either by deliberately or by default, unknowingly. And therefore, you see people different. The things that are changing, you may not see it, but you see this in different forms. The same people, or different people, different faces, different situation, but the same experience. Things are changing. Nothing is at a standstill. And so, as a human being, you've got to establish things in your consciousness. And when you establish it in your consciousness and establish it as your belief, then the belief drives you. And that is how you're going to create that particular thing in your life, you see. And so today I'm going to talk about progressive living, how to live progressively or to be developmental minded. That is a fact. And it is not any hidden thing that when you go to any part of Africa, the crying, the prayer, the request to man and God is improvement in our lives, improvement in the life of the people. And normally it is the government that we turn our attention to, that it is the government that is not helping to improve the life of the people. It is partially true, but it is not 100% true. You see, but the fact is that whenever you take an animal and you create something for that animal and you leave it to live or to use it for the rest of its life, if you go back in a couple of days or years, you will see the thing either destroyed or not being used properly, because the thing that you have created for the animal is not in its consciousness. That is not who it is. And so for development to come, for any nation to see progress and development flowing through the land, every corner, it must begin from the consciousness, the development of that state in the consciousness of the people. And it all depends on the development of the mind of the people. You see, and so our life is like an ignorant man who is using a wheelbarrow and water hose that is connected to the tap. The wheelbarrow is full of sand, and unknowingly or without the knowledge about how the thing works, he places the wheels of the wheelbarrow on the water hose and turn the tap on. And now he goes around wailing that there is no water in the tap. But meanwhile, it is he or he himself that is sabotaging the whole process. But as soon as he comes to the realization that the wheelbarrow is blocking the water from coming through the sprinkler and takes the wheelbarrow off, the water begins to spring off, you see. And so it is the same thing with our lives. Progress, development, it's like water that is flowing through human beings. It is coming from the universal consciousness. And we can block this progress from flowing through us by our beliefs. What we establish as our beliefs, our dominant line of thinking. And as soon as we come to the realization and we take this off, just as the one using the wheelbarrow takes the wheelbarrow off the water hose and the water flows, we will begin to see development flowing through the land everywhere. That is when men and women, regardless of their social status, regardless of their education, regardless of the money they have, they take a challenge, they take situations and transform it into beautiful things. And a multitude of people transforming multitude of things brings out a uniform and sustained development, you see. And so until we begin to change the mindset and the beliefs that we hold, and we are not going to see any progress as it is in other places or other worlds, you see. And even as I'm speaking right now, even right from the president office in Ghana or any other African country down to the lowest, we have this inward belief that we need help from somewhere for us to be able to do something. And therefore, we hold that belief that we don't have this. We don't have this. But we don't have the belief that we are the creators. And therefore, what we need or what we want is what we have to create. Or we have to create what we want, you see. And as a matter of fact, if you hold a belief of needy, if you are a needy person, you don't get what you want because you are more or less a beggar. But if you are someone that wants things, your wanting will propel you to create it. That means you know that it is good for you, and therefore you're going to use all the powers in you to create it, you see. And so Africans, or let me say Ghanaians and representing Africans, we have placed our own wheels or weight or the wheels of our beliefs on our progress. That is a fact. And one of the key things is what we call tradition, culture. Now, culture is evolving because human beings are evolving. Traditions are the things that people of the old have done, and therefore those traditions are not relevant in the current situation or in the current generation or dispensation. And therefore, if you are unable to deliberately review your life in relation to these traditions and other things that you are holding on, then you are more or less stifling your own development, you see. And so this is the time that we have to scan through our system, beginning from our religious and traditional practices up to even our political and other systems that we have. Most of them are impeding progress. But we do not want to do self-examination. We do not want to do self-assessment. And therefore we sit down and wail. And all that we have to do is to pray to God for God to bring the development to us. That development will never come, you see. And so progressive living is the one that continually scans through his or her life, circumstances, situations, environment, and make changes to situations accordingly, according to the evolution, the trend of human life. That is how progress comes. As a matter of fact, progress is what? Progress is simply moving from a lower level to a higher level. And you can only move, you can only attain progress only when there is a change of mind, a change of attitude, a change of mindset. You see, and so the African situation, Ghana in perspective, is something that we do not have to look far for the solution to this, but we have to look into ourselves and our setups. Any good things will produce good results. No one will do the right thing to get the wrong outcome, and no one will do the wrong thing to get a good outcome. It is a law that actions and reactions must always be equal. And our actions are what we are thinking, the beliefs we are holding. Because whatever action that you will take must be powered by what you are thinking about. And so we are here to progress. And we have everything that is needed for us to progress. But this progress will not be a reality. This progress will not be a reality until we change our attitude of minds. And that is why the American psychologist William James observed that a human being can change his life by changing his attitude of minds. The changing of mindset from the grassroots, from every corner of the nation, from powerlessness to powerful being, from calling on God, serving God outside us, from seeing ourselves as powerless to people who are creators, who have the right and the power to change their life at will. It is only when we have men and women who hold this concept, who hold this mindset, then that we begin to tackle our challenges. We begin to tackle our situations. And one by one, we transform or we transmute them into opportunities. Opportunities are all over around us. And so this is a time of shifting the mental attitude, the belief that we hold. Progress can never be attained by, maintaining traditions. Progress can never be attained by holding on to old practices. But progress can only be attained by reviewing deliberately and intelligently, reviewing and analyzing, discarding things that are not working for you, and then bringing in new perspective, new things that will come to improve your life and move yourself forward. And so the development, the underdevelopment nature, the poor, the poverty, and all the things that is happening in Africa is self-inflicted. And it's all because of the attitude of our minds, the view, the perception, the concept that we hold about ourselves and all other things around us. And if we change it, things will change. For actions and reactions are always the same. Thank you.